News 5's John Casa continues our team coverage with the push to figure all of this out, John.
Yeah, Frank, that push just ran into a wall this afternoon as the Ohio Controlling Board voted to reject the Secretary's proposal that he pay for the return postage on those absentee ballots. Before the Ohio Controlling Board, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose argued that paying the postage to return absentee ballots was never a red or blue issue, but a red, white, and blue one.
It doesn't have any impact in a partisan way. It doesn't benefit the Republicans. It doesn't benefit the Democrats. What it does do is benefit voters as an added convenience, and it benefits our boards of elections by getting those ballots back in the mail very quickly.
LaRose said that's because, as he has heard from voters, a lot of people just don't have stamps lying around.
It's not the 55 cents. I don't really believe that it's the cost of postage that stands in anyone's way, but it's the convenience of many of us just don't use postage as a routine part of our daily life. We pay our bills on our phones and that kind of thing.
But Republicans on the controlling board argued this was something the legislature needed to sign off on. And when given the option back in May, they refused. Beyond that, the House did the opposite, passing a bill that would go into effect next year if approved by the Senate that would prohibit the Secretary of State from ever paying for return postage in any instance going forward.
Early voting begins in 22 days. 22 days. And already more than 1 million absentee ballots have been requested. And I'm highly reluctant to change the rules of any election, let alone a presidential election at the 11th hour.
In the end, he and 3 other Republicans on the board voted LaRose's request down by a 4-2 party line vote.
A no vote today is a no vote that is over the objection of our Ohio elections officials in a bipartisan way, and myself as the chief elections officer.
So what's next? Well, early voting starts 3 weeks from tomorrow, and LaRose says that simply is not enough time to try something else because 3 weeks was the minimum amount of time that they needed to try to pull this off.
All right, John. Now, this is the big question. How could all of this impact election night results as we move forward?
Well, we know that there's going to be a late rush of ballots coming in. There always is. But someone who doesn't have a stamp may have to wait a couple of extra days. So as a result, they may miss that postmark of the day before the election or get it postmarked in time, but the ballot arrives 3 or 4 days after the election. And under Ohio law, we won't know the results of those ballots for 3 weeks after the election.
All right. Thank you, John.